So we are going back to 2012 and the Super High Roller event that took place at EPT Barcelona that year. It was a €50,000 buy-in and it was dominated by Dan Smith. Now Dan is a phenomenal player, but he also was extremely fortunate during his run in this MTT. He got dealt quads more than once, found himself in numerous house-over-house situations. And do you know what? You're going to see for yourself, because we put together a compilation of his luckiest and most important moments. So enjoy these hands, and please don't forget to subscribe to this channel.
With it aren't nearly as strong.
Six of spades on the turn. Smith with a virtual lock on the hand, 98% equity.
None of these cards are really saving Silverman.
Bets again, 65,000.
Now, does Dan raise or just call and go for all his value on the river?
He calls.
River it is.
230,000 in the middle, Silverman with not much more than that behind. The Case Jack on the river, quads for Dan Smith.
This is just a horrific card for Silverman. He's now got a full house, and in his mind, he's only losing the aces or kings, which probably would have gotten him 3-bet pre-flop.
Silverman shoves.
Oy.
Call.
Dan Smith calls.
Quick check of the quads.
Put in.
No kidding.
That is just brutal.
Erik Seidel opens from under the gun +1 with ace-queen to 16,000. Dan Smith has kings.
Almost always going to see a 3-bet with kings.
Not this time, he just calls.
Interesting. Dan's not wanting to look too strong, so he just calls. Calling reps a much wider range, and there's always a chance someone gets cute behind you.
Heads up to the flop. Quack, quack, quack.
Erik will probably continue with what he presumes will be the best hand a big percentage of the time. Dan, of course, flops a full house.
Seidel does continue for 18,000.
Let's see if Dan continues to play this deceptively by just calling. I think raising here would be a real mistake.
He does call.
Don't want to chase away that action.
The turn is a queen. Seidel now has a full house.
Really terrible card for Erik. He's now going to have the best hand almost all of the time.
Fires again, 25,000.
Now, we know Erik is more likely to call a raise here than I am to call an ex-girlfriend after 2 a.m., but does Dan know that?
Dan does raise, makes it 75,000 total.
Dan claims to keep his cool in these spots. What do you people think? Is he giving anything away? Let us know on Twitter, hashtag at EPT Barcelona. Now, don't get me wrong, this raise looks extremely strong, but A, Dan's had quads once already. What are the odds, am I right, people? B, B, and C closing, always be closing.
A?
I remember now. Even though that raise looks super strong, there are, in Erik's mind, only 2 hands that are beating him, kings and aces. And what are the odds Dan flatted with those pre-flop?
On this occasion, he did. Seidel now checks the river, having called Smith's raise on the turn. 234,000 in the pot, he bets 200,000.
This is your run-of-the-mill / incredibly rare cooler crying call.
He can't get away from it, he calls. And Smith gets maximum value.
Erik Seidel's been getting brutalized by Dan Smith today.
I like the way he played that. In all things considered, I think it was really, really good way to play it.
Quiet, Daniel. He's right there.
Dan Smith on the button has ace-king.
Dan's almost certainly going to 3-bet here, in position with all that action behind him. And don't forget those massive chips.
He re-raises to 63,000. Simon Ravensbeck also has ace-king.
Another ace-king out there. This is going to make things pretty crazy.
Ravensbeck 4-bets to 134,000. Watson and Seidel both fold.
Now, this is a little less exciting now since these two are destined to chop.
Smith 5-bets.
I'm all in.
Ravensbeck moves all in, and Smith calls. The flop has 2 spades on it, and Smith holds the ace of spades.
Backdoor sweat.
And there's a spade on the turn. Oh, come on. That would be too gross, right?
Anyone else holding spades? I don't want to know.
Trust me, neither does Ravensbeck.
And the river brings another spade.
Oof. That was less cool than talking about a guy's bachelor party in front of his wife.
That was grotesque.
Dan, it's okay if you want to laugh.
Dan Smith, Jack 9 offsuit. Smith, the overwhelming tournament chip leader.
Been folded to him. He's in relatively late position.
Yeah, he's in the cutoff. He raises to 36,000. JC Alvarado folds the small blind. Mike McDonald has Jack 10 in the big blind.
Also has Smith dominated, but he is out of position.
Looks like Mike will defend, and we will see a flop. That flop, 7 Jack 9, 2 pair for Smith, the straight draw and top pair for McDonald.
This flop is the worst thing to happen to a McDonald since trans fats got banned.
McDonald checks to the razor. Smith continues for 52,000.
Even though Mike's way behind, top pair and a good gut shot is almost just as good. Just not quite.
McDonald calls.
Looks like he might even think his hand is too strong to raise there.
The turn is another jack, another full house for Dan Smith. McDonald improves to trips.
This is just getting insanely bad. This is the worst thing to happen to a McDonald's since New York City banned large sodas.
McDonald checks a second time. Smith, will bet a second time by the looks of things. Sure enough, 133,000.
There's a good shot. Mike just calls again, wanting Dan to keep repping that jack, which he is doing because he has it.
How much is Mike McDonald going to lose in this hand?
At least another 133,000.
Yeah, he calls, taking us to the river. 462,000 in the pot. No 10 on the river. Smith still good.
Let's see how Mike plays this. Does he lead the river and hope for a call? No, he checks the river and hopes for a bet.
He's going to get it.
He is gonna get it.
371,000.
That is a huge bet. Now Mike might be worried Dan's actually got a better jack. This is one of those polarizing bet sizes. Dan's not doing this with most of his non-nut value hands.
Mike calls.
Whoops.
1.2 million chip pot will slide across to Dan Smith.
There's really not much you can do there. You gonna fold 3 jacks? No. His hand was just a cold deck. The worst thing to happen to a McDonald since heart disease.
Dan Smith in the big blind as Queen 6 suited.
Dan's getting good pot odds. A call here would be borderline if he didn't have all the chips in the universe, but he does, so it's totes fine.
So Smith calls as well. We are going 3-way to the flop. That flop, 6-9 deuce, second pair for Smith, an up and down draw for Alvarado. Livio still leads with 10s.
Livio was the original raiser.
55.
And he's got the most to protect against.
Dan Smith checks to him. Livio bets 55,000.
I don't know that this bet will get either of these players to fold, however.
Alvarado calls.
Livio's actually got 2 blockers to his hand.
Smith calls as well. It's a 3-way to the turn.
Call's a little questionable, but Dan's getting stupid pot odds again.
And he hits another 6 on the turn. Trips for the chip leader.
This is a grosser turn than the twist and the crying game. JC is now dead to 4 outs. Dan all but locks his hand up, and no one's really likely to think this card changed anything.
Dan checks a second time. Livio bets a second time, 125,000. Action on Alvarado.
He's getting a decent price to chase his straight. Meanwhile, Dan's got a super disguised monster.
Alvarado calls.
JC was getting an even better price, assuming Dan comes along for the ride. And spoiler alert, he's not folding.
But is he raising? No, he's calling.
Dan overcalls on 3 streets. Gotta wonder if anyone's spidey sense is tingling yet.
3-way to the river, which is another 6. This is the second time in the tournament that Dan Smith has had quads.
The second time today. All pairs now have full houses, just like Livio over there has got.
Smith checks a third time. Livio now checks as well.
Wow, either a very astute player or a guy who's gonna lose value a lot of the time. I'm willing to chalk it up to some kind of insane physical read.
Alvarado with the misdraw.
Yeah, but it's a straight flush draw now.
He waves the white flag.
Because Livio somehow has the clairvoyance to check the 6 nuts, Dan Smith gets locked out of the First National Bank of Value 5th Street branch. Just quads, guys, just quads. These any good? Quads any good?
3-way to the flop. And Tobias Reinkemeyer flops a full house. Dan Smith flops trips. Nothing for Alvarado, the original raiser. Action's been checked to Smith. He bets 85K.
Dan Smith has made another huge hand. This time it's not the biggest, though.
Reinkemeyer calls.
After betting a call, not much shot JC sticks around here.
He folds. Heads up to the turn. Which is a 6. JC's so lucky he folded on the flop. Reinkemeyer checks again. Smith bets again. 181,000.
Sick cooler developing here.
Reinkemeyer calls.
Both players are playing this like they absolutely know they have the best hand, and most of the time they'd both be right. As for right now, Dan is in deep doo-doo.
The river's a king. Smith now has a better full house.
OMG, this kid spikes more than a lie detector on Capitol Hill.
Reinkemeyer checks, hoping to induce some kind of bluff from Smith. This is not a bluff. This is a value bet. 384,000, and it's bound to get paid off. It may even get raised.
This is a slam dunk value raise situation. There are only 2 hands on the planet that are beating you, Kings and King Jack. King Jack is the more believable of the two if it weren't for the fact that it would have to be the case Jack.
Hold on.
Reinkemeyer shoves.
The double check.
Call.
Dan Smith calls, and we lose the German from the tournament.
Like the refrigerators at the Center for Disease Control, this is just a sick cooler.
Good hand.
No kidding.
Tobias, it's okay if you want to scream.
All right, good luck. Yeah.
9-10 for Dan Smith on the button in the small blind. Raises to 225,000. Pocket queens for JC Alvarado.
Not only does JC have the chip lead, but now he's getting hands. Typically the ladies come after you in the super high roller, but I'm sure he's happy to see them now.
He 3-bets to 700,000. Things turning around here for Dan Smith. Is his golden run over?
Possibly. That hand's a teensy bit weak to be calling 3-bets with.
Smith flops bottom pair and a straight draw.
JC's holding 2 outs to his gut shot, though, and his implied odds aren't great if he hits it.
He goes check on the flop, and it's a 9 on the turn. I spoke too soon. Dan Smith's run is by no means over.
And unfortunately for JC, that's going to look like a very safe card for him.
JC now bets 750K.
JC looks a little agitated. You know Dan's not reaching for chips with total air here. Best case scenario, he's got a jack or a super strong draw. Worst case, the hand he's got.
Smith calls. We go to the river, which is the inconsequential 2 of clubs.
That is such a brick. JC might think he can bet for value. Poor guy.
He is betting 1.4 million.
Dan most likely should be raising this river. It's really easy for JC to be value betting worse, which he is, and he's just not going to be beat very often. Also, it's such a polarizing spot that he's going to get paid off a fair amount of the time.
That is a big raise. 4.8 million total.
And we had to cut away because JC just threw up in his mouth a little. Shoots him a look. It's a very polarizing bet. Dan's either got a 9 or he doesn't. JC's put so many chips in this pot and was probably so sure he had the best hand. This spot is grosser than the piece of carpet the dog sleeps on.
Alvarado makes a great laydown.
Another really well-played hand by JC. It's a shame he had to lose it.
Nice hand there. Thanks.
Kings for Alvarado.
JC's got about 20 bigs.
250.
He raises to 250. Dan Smith has ace-king.
Oh, it's all going in here. Really good spot for JC to double up.
All in?
Smith shoves, Alvarado calls.
Now, even with this loss, Dan's still going to have a monster stack compared to JC. He'll still have more than a 2-to-1 chip lead.
Don't assume it will be a loss. Dan Smith has got lucky from time to time in this tournament.
Truth.
He does have an overcard. He does have 30% equity. The flop has an ace on it.
Oh man, isn't that the story of this tournament? That's the whole story. Dan Smith plays good. Dan Smith gets business end of cooler. Dan Smith gets there. The end.
Might be the one-outer.
Just one card in the deck can save JC Alvarado.
Second place is pretty good.
Burn.
Dan Smith is on the verge of lifting the trophy here in Barcelona. The only river card that will stop that happening is the King of Spades. It's a 3. Dan Smith has done it. JC Alvarado's the runner-up, but bow before King Dan, who's earned the Super High Roller crown.
It was destiny. Kid could do no wrong.
That's how you play a hand like a pro.
Yeah, the aces?
Yeah. That is. It was aces, guys.